skip the drive-through. These egg bites are cheaper, healthier, and they taste amazing. Once you see how simple these are, you're not gonna be going out for them again. Pulling out the big guns for this one. Back when Instant Pots were all the rage, I'm not saying they're not great invention. I thought that I needed the largest Instant Pot for our family of 4, and let me tell you, I am here to say you don't need the largest one. If you have a family of 12, maybe you do. If you do not have an Instant Pot and you want to invest in one, I would highly suggest the smaller version. I just don't think that one this big is really necessary. But nonetheless, we do use this, and there is a main thing that we use it for, and it is worth it, okay? So we're gonna make egg bites today, and if you have ever been to the coffee shop that all the people have heard of at some point or another and gotten egg bites from them, they are very good. I am actually not really a fan of that coffee shop in general, but their egg bites are very, very good, and I'm gonna show you how to make them in all different ways, and they're worth it. They're so good. Friends, if you do not have an Instant Pot, you can still make these. They are gonna be a little bit different, but they can be made in the oven. I've made something very similar to this here before. Highly suggest silicone molds for this. Highly, even for the oven, okay? Silicone muffin pan, I guess is what it, mold is what it would be called. You're gonna pour the stuff into your molds, but set that on a baking sheet and put some water in that baking sheet so that it steams in the oven as opposed to just baking in the oven. That's gonna help to make that fluffy texture of the egg bites. So even if you don't have an Instant Pot, you can still make something very similar. Don't be afraid of this recipe and don't skip it just because you don't have the big Instant Pot. Now, whenever I make these, I do not follow a recipe that makes like 4 or 5 egg bites. If I'm gonna pull out this gargantuan of a device, I'm gonna make enough egg bites to last us a little while. So you'll see that I'm gonna make a lot of them, but if you only wanna make ones that are gonna be for the next like day, maybe 2 days, then you're gonna use a lot less eggs than I am. So we're gonna make the base recipe, and then I'll show you the different add-ins that you can put in to make your egg bites. I don't necessarily think you have to have a blender. However, I do think that having a blender lends to that really smooth consistency of an egg bite. It's done I think I say this right, but I'm actually not 100% sure. Sous vide. That's how they make theirs. So the Instant Pot is not exactly the way that they make them. It is a little bit different of a method, but the blending together of the ingredients makes a huge difference. And you know what I just remembered? We're making breakfast food. Let me grab my coffee. In my video where I gave 10 healthy swap ideas, one of you asked me, how do you make your iced latte, your afternoon iced latte? And since I've already got this stuff here, let me just show it to you really quick. All right, so I have brewed 2 ounces of espresso here, or 2 shots of espresso. I have about a cup or so of milk with ice in it. Let's add about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of maple syrup. I personally like mine on the less sweet side. Mix that together, add in my espresso. Look, I'm gonna dump some on the cutting board because that's what we do. And you know, if I'm really feeling it, if I wanna make this extra special, I'll put it in a shaker, shake it up really well. It's like a shaken espresso, but today we're going the easy route. All right, and now that we are 12 minutes into the video, let's do the egg bite. Your normal, just basic recipe is only gonna call for 4 eggs. I am actually gonna start with 12. Let's start with 12. I may end up doing 2 batches because egg bites freeze so well. And yes, that's a lot of eggs in a time where eggs are not super cheap. However, you just gotta kind of look at it as you're making your breakfasts ahead of time, so you don't need eggs for the next X amount of days. Okay, let's start with our base recipe here. And like I said, I'm gonna do 12 eggs. And you know what, I should probably get these out because what happens is I get to talking and then I forget how many eggs we've used. So that's 4, 5, 10, 11, and 12. Okay. So 12 eggs into the blender. I can't remember, honestly, how many egg bites this ends up making when we do 12, but it doesn't really matter to me because honestly, I wanna make as many as possible because then I can put the gargantuan machine away, the kitchen device away, and then I don't have to bring it back out again really until we need egg bites. I feel like, you comment below and tell me what all do you use your Instant Pot for? Here is what I've found it is good for. Yogurt, fantastic for yogurt. As much as I love homemaking things, I do feel like I'm a little lacking in the homemaking yogurt department because yogurt is just way too convenient in the grocery store and there's some pretty good options. But I have made my own yogurt in the Instant Pot before. It's good for rice, but I have a rice maker that is significantly smaller. What else do we use it for? We've used it for like soups and chilies and stuff when I need to make a good amount, like we're having people over or something like that. But you know, it's such a cool device. It really is. I'm not trying to shame it at all. It's just one of those things that I just wish that I might end up giving that one away to someone and then getting a smaller one. I just didn't need the biggest one. And let me tell you why I got the biggest one. Because I read online that the largest Instant Pot is the only one that makes yogurt. Well, then upon receiving the largest Instant Pot, I read many other articles about how you just make the yogurt. Even though there's not a yogurt button, there's workarounds as far as that goes. So it is what it is. It was purchased. It's been like 5 or 6 years at this point. We've had this thing for a while. I'm gonna add a full cup of cottage cheese. Now, you guys know how much we love the Good Culture cottage cheese because I've talked about it multiple times here. I will say sometimes when I'm gonna make egg bites, I will buy a cheaper version of cottage cheese just because this is a little bit pricier of a cottage cheese, but it does add to the richness and the smoothness and just how good these egg bites are if you're willing to use a little bit better quality cottage cheese. If you want to save a little bit of money, that's probably where I would go. I'm gonna add a pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper, and this is really preference. The cottage cheese, to me, has a bit of a salty flavor, so I don't wanna add too much. Now, this is your base egg bite, okay? This is where you start with this and then you get really creative with all the other things that you add in. So we're gonna blend this for about 30 seconds. Couple of tips here. You don't wanna underblend because you want the cottage cheese to be nice and smooth, but you don't wanna overblend so that it gets too many air bubbles in it. If that happens, your egg bites won't be consistent because what happens is the first pour into the molds they're gonna have a lot of air in them, a lot of bubbles in them, which is it's not a huge deal. But then once you get to the bottom, they're gonna have less air in them and they're just not consistent. They taste completely the same, but that's just kind of a tip if you want them to look all the same. Try not to overblend just so that you don't have the air bubbles. Blend for right about 30 seconds on medium. Perfect, that was exactly 30 seconds. And what I'm looking for as it's blending, you probably saw me just looking at it, is I wanna make sure I don't see any little bits of cottage cheese anymore, and I don't, so it's perfect, it's ready to go. I like to tap it. You're still gonna have air bubbles. This is not gonna prevent it completely, but it helps just a little bit, okay? See, I mean, let me get in close here. You're still gonna have bubbles frothing at the top, but we'll kind of hand mix just a little bit to get some of those out. Okay, so this first one that we're gonna make, if you've been to this coffee chain before, they have the bacon and Gruyere egg bites, which are so good, by the way. I'm a huge fan of Gruyere, but when you have a cheese in your fridge, you just go ahead and use it. I don't like to add a lot of extra cheese to these. Does it add to amazing flavor? But I would like to avoid the extra fat grams because I know that I'm gonna have them later on in the evening. So I'm only gonna put about a 1/4 cup of cheddar into this. Use whatever kind of cheese you love. And then we're gonna take some bacon, which you guys know we already always have cooked here in our house. We're gonna add a little bit of chopped bacon into this and kind of bring it together. But then I personally like to save out at least 1 piece of bacon to add into the molds. That's a preference of mine because sometimes the bacon just kind of sinks to the bottom of your egg mixture, and then you get a few that might not have enough bacon in them, and we're not gonna have a bacon egg bite without bacon. That makes no sense. So I'm only adding in a total of 3 pieces. For this, honestly, you could probably go up to 7 or 8 pieces. So lid back on, quick pulse. That's just breaking up any of those little pieces. And then for this other piece that I've got in here, I need to make more bacon. Let's chop it up. Somebody suggested the other day to use my herb scissors for bacon, and it works so well if the bacon is not cold. If it's cold, it just kind of gets stuck. So I'm cautious not to do that. Okay, so these are egg bite molds. And I'm just gonna rinse them out because they've been in that cabinet for a minute. Now, I am told that you do not have to spray silicone. However, I always do because I'm not gonna put in all the effort to make these and then have them stick. So that's why I do that. We're gonna take a little bit of bacon and just drop it in, just a little bit, seriously, a little bit. Drop it into each one, because you're already gonna get some in there, but just making sure there's a bit in all of it. Now I might have a little left, but I think this is gonna make more than 2 molds, so that's fine with me. We're gonna switch it up in a minute. Kind of do this, hoping to get some of those air bubbles. You can stack these containers in your Instant Pot, which is also pretty helpful. Okay, you ready? We're just gonna pour the mixture into the molds, and we're only going about 3/4. Oh, all right, cool. We're only going about 3/4 of the way. Nothing like me making a mess on pour 1. Many times I have stacked these in my Instant Pot, and I'll cook both of them at the same time, and I am gonna do that today. I have found they look a little better if you don't stack them. If you're less concerned about looks, like in this case where I'm gonna be freezing a bunch of them because I don't wanna stand here all afternoon and make these, then just stack them and it'll be fine. All right, so we've got a good amount left in there. So I'll be making round 2 of that. And we've got some bacon left right here. So let's add that to this little bowl. Oh, for those of you that wanted a finger update, I've gotten so many sweet messages from you guys. It's healing up really, really nicely, okay? Like I don't even have to wear a Band-Aid anymore. I don't have to cover it anymore. I'm really shocked at how well it has healed. Add 1 cup to 1.5 cups of water into the Instant Pot. Now I like to add in the rack here so that it's easier to take these out. Gently set in these and stack. Okay, when you stack these, you don't want to stack it to where the holes line up because otherwise it'll kind of drop down in there because they stack within themselves. So hopefully that makes sense that you've got, this is a hole in between these 2 slots. Hopefully what I'm saying makes sense. All right, this is going into the Instant Pot. Water, eggs, and all. Plug her in. The lid goes on. We're gonna set it to sealing, and you want to cook these on, you're gonna go to pressure cook on high for 9 minutes. Why is mine on an hour? Oh, I did corned beef in this last, that's why. All right, so 9 minutes, then you set a timer, or you don't have to because it'll be on here as well. 9 minutes it'll pressure cook, let it naturally release on its own before you flip the valve. for 10 minutes, and then these will be good to go. Okay, while this round is in there, let's talk about the different combinations that you can make of egg bites, because there are so many. Ham and cheddar, if you're a ham fan, fabulous combination. Oh, by the way, while I do this, I'm gonna make another one. I'm gonna add a few things just to make a little bit of a different flavor. Spinach would be really great with this combo. I'm gonna add in thyme because we have a good amount of it on our garden. So ham and cheddar, what was the other one I just thought of? Oh, like a Mediterranean, which is what I'm gonna do here. Roasted bell pepper, or roasted red bell pepper, some Kalamata olives. That's a fabulous combination and a common one in our household. You can do all vegetarian if you want. It's sausage and cheese. I mean, there's just so many options for these egg bites. I would say whatever flavors you love, try it in an egg bite, because honestly, I feel like you can't even go wrong. So I'm gonna add in these roasted red bell pepper strips. If I can open it, there we go. Grab a fork and take these out. Add in a few of those. It adds a beautiful red color, which is great. Just add in however much you like. It's probably, I don't know, 1/4 to 1/2 cup. It just all depends on how many of the egg bites you're actually making. I do also like to chop up a little bit and do the same thing where I'm popping them into the mold so that you can see that red at the bottom. I think it just looks really pretty. And then I'm gonna add Kalamata olives. Obviously, if you're not a fan of olives, skip this one, but we'll add that in, and it's this just Mediterranean style flavor. I'm also gonna grab some oregano. My oregano on the garden, I didn't realize one of the towers wasn't watering because I didn't disconnect, I disconnected it to clean it, and I didn't reconnect the tower properly. So I think my oregano is all dead, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to add in some dried oregano, which is totally fine. So we'll just chop these up just a bit here, and then we'll be able to add this into the molds whenever those come out. Okay, while that's in there, I'm gonna take this over and just quickly pulse this again because I added those few ingredients. Now this will be ready when those are done. All right, so look here, the timer just went off. They've been in for 9 minutes. Now we're gonna wait until this gets to say 10, which is just it naturally releasing on its own. And once it's to 10, then we'll flip that valve. There it is, back there. As we wait for this to naturally release, we've got about 8 minutes left. Let's start a chat in the comments below, letting other people know and giving more ideas of different ingredients that you could put into these egg bites. Because you guys are experts here. What kind of flavors do you think would work really well together in these egg bites? And let's just start a list. Okay, we're at 11 minutes that it has been naturally releasing. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip this valve. Let it quick release. Okay, so when you first open it up, you can see that they're popped out of this thing and they're really big, but you can see they come back. They kind of like shrink back to size pretty quickly. So we'll pull these out and then go ahead and turn the molds over onto a plate. So what you may notice about these is they don't look perfect, right? They look all right, they're definitely edible, but if you are looking for them to look perfect, then what I have found is only make one mold at a time, which we might do on this one because I'm not even sure we have enough of the mixture to make a full two more of them anyway. Got a little bit more bacon. Let's just toss that in while we're at it. Why is this open? Okay, mix that a little bit. It's been sitting there, so everything has probably settled a bit. And then same process. We're gonna fill this up about 3/4 of the way full. These are gonna be a different color because I did add in that red pepper and we did blend it. I wanna show you what it looks like if you only cook one of these at a time. I don't understand. They just turn out so much prettier. Also, for some reason, the second round also turns out prettier. But let's go again. It takes less time to heat up because it's already kind of hot in there. So again, 10 minutes. So pressure cook, not 9 minutes, sorry, and then let it release naturally. Now, if you like a little bit of heat, I suggest something like this chili onion crunch. There are multiple different ones on the market. You can make your own too. Now, this stuff is spicy, so you wanna be careful, but just a little bit of a drizzle-ish on each one. Makes them so good. Add a little touch of parsley to the top for that beautiful green color. They really are so delicious. Perfect to reheat in the mornings and have for breakfast. We seriously love these. And like I said, they freeze so well. All right, now what everybody really wants is, what do these look like when you dig in? So when you cut them open, you're gonna see that beautiful, fluffy inside texture, which is so good. I mean, if you've ever had an egg bite out, you know how delicious that is. Mine's gonna be a little spicy. Super good. The more cottage cheese you use, the fluffier it is. So don't be afraid to go heavy-handed with that cottage cheese. All right, round 2, quick release, which should only take about 30 seconds to a minute at this point. So these did not pop up quite as much. And actually, I didn't spray it. Darn it. All right, I don't know if these are gonna come out all beautiful. Let's see what we can do. Oh, they might. Okay, here we go. Just do this little number. Aha, it's hot. Spray your pan, y'all. See, this is what I'm saying. You're not supposed to have to spray silicone, but you don't have blenders like this when you do. But look how, okay, this is what I want to point out here. So they are coming out. When I only make one at a time, let me do this and then try and talk, for goodness sakes. This one fell apart. But when I only try and make one at a time, look how much prettier and even most of these, because they stuck, turn out. So you get, like, this one is literally perfect, just perfect. So obviously we will eat every last one of them, but for some reason, if you make one at a time, and also after it's been on for a while, they just turn out better. I don't know. I'd have no reason, no explanation for why it does it that way. But y'all, this is something that we love to have. These are easy to pop in the microwave in the mornings when you just don't, I mean, these are even better. I personally have been trying to be better about eating something before I drink my coffee in the mornings, because for years I went straight to coffee, and I know that that's not great for cortisol levels. So if I have these available, it's a quick heat up in the microwave. When I wake up, I can have 2 of these and I'm ready to go and have my coffee. So good. Oh my goodness. These are delicious. I mean, the inside of these, they're like glossy, just so perfect. Give them a try. Let me know in the comments, have you made these before and do you love them? Our verse today comes from Psalm 31:24. Be strong and let your heart take courage, all you who wait for the Lord. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're new here, I would love if you would subscribe and stick around. You're gonna get some more amazing content here that I just know is gonna inspire and encourage you in the kitchen. Check out the video that I have listed right here. You are going to love this one. Have a great week.